Good afternoon and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses, and today it is time for another match preview. The games are coming thick and fast. However, there will be a break after this one. We do have yet another international break. Depending on how this game goes, I think determines whether we're happy about another break or not. If we were to lose or draw, then I think we will all be happy for a break away from Leicester City for 2 weeks. Now, Norwich versus Leicester away at Carrow Road. You can see Mr. Schlupp on your screen there as well. Let's get into it, and we're going to start by looking, of course, at Norwich. Now, they just played last night. They played against Sheffield Wednesday and got one draw. You can see from their form. So they've just they've just ended their really poor form, which was just consecutive losses. Now, you can see here that they are currently in 22nd. A lot of people predicted them to be much higher in the table this season, especially with a couple of the signings they made. Chris Gordon, if you're English, Chris Gordon if you're fucking from wherever in Scandinavia. I liked him. He was in our scouting report in the summer. We didn't sign him. He ended up going to Norwich. He's a good player. He did score last night, and he is a threat for them. But we're going to be looking at the other threats as well very soon. But you can see here, loss, draw. That is their form. However, they are they've lost every game at Carrow Road, I think. Every game this season. I will just double check that. Norwich, yeah, it was away yesterday. So I think they've lost every game at Carrow Road. They'll be wanting to end that streak of losses. And they're probably happy that it's Leicester they're coming up against, because Leicester are not in a good run of form themselves, low on confidence, as we all know. Now, style of play, what we can expect from Norwich: creating chances using through balls, creating long shot opportunities, and stealing the ball from the opposition. Now, you can see there from the creating long shot opportunities, that is something that we have been good at this season as well, kind of long shots. That kind of shows you, I think, where patterns of play, chance creation, really you're struggling with, so you kind of resort to long shot opportunities, and that's what they've been good at this season. Pair that with the fact that Jakub Stolarczyk might be missing from this game with a groin injury. We do have Asmir Begovic, who did make a very good save in the game against Middlesbrough on Tuesday night. He might be a little bit rusty. He's 38 years old, so they might be wanting to test him, to be honest with you. So look out for a couple long shots from them. Creating chances using through balls. Look, I feel like the through balls either on the floor or over the top is something that we struggle with at times, especially on our left, when the ball is kicked between Yannick Vestergaard and Luke Thomas when we're in that back four shape. We do struggle with that because of a lack of pace, because I think of maybe an overcommitment as well from Luke Thomas and Yannick Vestergaard. They kind of overcommit at times. They get caught out of position, and a long ball, a through ball, whatever you want to call it, can carve us open. So that is something to look out for. Now, on the weaknesses side, they're not very good at stopping opponents from creating chances. Unfortunately, we struggle with creating chances. That's going to be interesting to see. Defending counter-attacks and defending against attacks down the wings. Now, if you look at those last two weaknesses in particular, I would say this is where Marty really, really needs to switch it up a little bit with Leicester. We went quite defensive, which we're going to talk a little bit about later. In that Middlesbrough game, we were quite negative. But when we did win the ball back, we had opportunities to counter quickly and directly, but we just never took them chances. We never took them opportunities. It was always a ball into Ayew, who then ultimately slowed things down and went backwards. Not just Ayew, other players as well. We just don't play with that fast, direct, counter-attacking football. When even, I know it's not Marty's philosophy to play that way, but in that last game against Middlesbrough, we purposely set up quite negatively and defensively, which then resulted in us having opportunities to counter, and we just never did it. So that is super frustrating. We have the players to play that way. We have the players to play with pace, directness down the wings, and we just don't do it enough. So that is something that I think we should do in this game especially. And looking at how Norwich set up and how Norwich where Norwich are vulnerable, I think that's something that we should utilise. And if we don't, it's going to be a very, very frustrating game once again, I think. I do fear. Right, moving on now. And of course, we'll talk about this man, Danger Man, Josh Sargent. Now, as I said at the start, they do have more than Josh Sargent, and I don't actually know if Josh Sargent is fit. Let me just look at their last lineup. He is fit. Good. I just wanted to check because he is sometimes quite injury prone. Yeah, I mean, their last game out, they had Josh Sargent in that number 9. They obviously, as I said, had Kvisgården as well to come off the bench, who's again, a good striker at this level, in my opinion. He's gone a little bit quiet more recently, that is for sure, but you just know that he's got a goal in him every game. It's just, he doesn't always score. Now, 5 goals, 1 assist so far this season. For a team that are in the relegation zone, or maybe just outside, no, I think they are still in the relegation zone. That's a good return. I think it was the start of the season where he literally scored 5 goals in 5 games. He's teetered off a little bit, which is a shame for him. But again, against our defenders at times who have lapses of concentration and make individual errors, individual mistakes, I would fear that that this guy is going to come up with a goal. We'll just have to wait and see on that front. But it's not just him. Kvisgården as well, I'm a big fan of. Really like him. And there's others as well. Oscar Schwartau, I think I'm saying his name right. He's good. Attacking midfielder. Can also play out wide. Jeffrey Schlupp with that pace down the left-hand side. They do tend to set up with a back 3, Norwich, recently. A back 3 with wing backs or wide midfielders, whatever you want to call them. Jeffrey Schlupp, he's not as quick as he was 10 years ago, of course, but he has still got that pace, that explosive pace. So if he can get him behind, that's going to be one to watch for sure. Now, moving on to, this is their best 11 based off their best performing player for each position. Again, this is not their starting 11. I'm not saying this is going to be their starting 11, but it is their best performing player for each position. As I just said, in the last game against Sheffield Wednesday, they did play a back 3 or a back 5, whatever way you want to look at it. Schlupp was in there. But you can see there that they're not awful scores. I mean, we've looked at some teams this season where the defenders and the midfielders and the attackers have been really, really low numbers. I mean, you look at the ratings here, and Harry Darling in defence, Medic as well, Stacey, they've got decent ratings for a team that are really far down the division. The problem, though, is you can see the midfield. McLean, he's had a poor season. Gibbs as well. So, yeah, look, they're not the greatest team on paper or on the eye. However, they do have players in there. I mean, the defenders, you know, you look at Medic and Darling. Yes, I know they've not had a perfect season, but with how our strikers are performing at the moment, you've got to think it's going to be difficult for us to kind of, you know, score more than one, even score one, right? It's going to be difficult. So, it's a banana slip, this. It's a massive banana slip. They've had a really poor start to the season, Norwich. So have we, though. And it's an El Sacico, some would say. Is Marty on the verge of getting sacked? Is he? I don't know. You tell me. It could be an El Sacico, because I'm surprised Liam Manning for Norwich is still in a job, to be honest with you. I am a little bit surprised. Now, here we go. Marty on the verge of sack. We are in 13th place. You can see here, out of the last 5 games on that form table. Sorry, it's not a form table. It's the league table, but the form stats on the far right of the graphic there. Draw, loss, draw. That's simply not good enough. Yes, we ended the 3 streak of losses, of course, against Middlesbrough. We got a point, but you look at that game, you know, we were winning until the 94th minute or whatever it was. We were far too negative. They were down to 10 men, and we still couldn't see out that game. We couldn't see out the win. Another lapse in concentration, maybe a little lapse in effort at the end, you know, to try and stop the ball into the box and then to actually win the ball in the box. Things just aren't working at the moment. Things are not good for Leicester at the moment. I don't think it's as rock bottom as some people think. I don't think it's game over for Marty just yet. I think he has time to turn it around. But the facts are the facts. If we lose against Norwich, there is a strong possibility that they do sack him, and he's not got that opportunity to put this right. So I'm interested to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Marty will be sacked if we lose this game? Please let me know below. I'm gonna sway towards yes, but I don't think we're gonna lose. So I suppose I will say, will he be sacked if we draw? If we just drop points, do you think he'll be sacked? It's hard to say. It's hard to gauge the feeling amongst the board right on him. There's been rumours that he's fallen out with Rudkin. There was an argument after the Blackburn game. There was rumours that he had a heated discussion with Abdul Fattah, but I will caveat both of them things by saying there is no witness that's come out and said, I saw it. It was all kind of like an anonymous thing, and so we don't actually know how true that is. But if it is true, it's not a good look, and you would say that he maybe is on the verge of getting sacked. So we'll have to wait and see. But 13th in the league, 4 wins, 6 draws, 4 losses, 16 goals scored, 15 goals conceded. It's not looking good, Brev, at the minute. Now, what 11 will we expect? So this is the 11 that we saw versus Middlesbrough. Ben Nelson came into the team. He was my man of the match for Leicester, my Leicester man of the match in that game. I was sceptical. I was a little bit concerned with Ben Nelson coming in after not playing for so long. Was he going to live up to the expectation or the hype that a lot of people online were giving him, saying you have to bring him in, he's played the youth and all this? But he did live up to the expectation. I think towards the end of the game, you just saw the lack of match fitness, right? The lack of game time. I think he was holding his calves a little bit. He was probably cramping up. At that point, we probably should have brought on Wout Faes to see out the game. But again, Nelson didn't make the mistake. It wasn't Nelson's man to defend that ball into the box late on. That was Okoli and Bobby Reed, really. So, the rest of the back line, Caleb Okoli at right back. Look, I think Caleb is one of our better defenders, right? I would put him, one of the better ones. He's not the worst. I think he had a decent game against Middlesbrough. Do I want to see him at right back, though? I don't. I would personally go as well. We've been calling it for a while, but I would personally play a back 3 of Okoli, Nelson and Vestergaard. That's what I would go with. Some will disagree. Some would rather Vestergaard drops out. Some would rather we stick with the back 4. Caleb Okoli at a right back is just far too negative in my opinion. I don't think that's what we should be doing. I think his balls up the line, like when you would see Ricardo or Hamza trying to play the ball up the line to Abdul, many times Okoli's just went out of play. On the ball technically, I don't think he's impressive enough. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's a centre back, and that is literally all he will ever be, is a centre back. He's not a right back. He's barely a ball playing centre back. So I don't want to see this experiment of Okoli at the back, right back again. I would much rather see Hamza or Ricardo there. But I do think Okoli should be starting. So again, if it's a back 4, I'd go Okoli, Nelson. If it's a back 3, which I would rather, Okoli, Nelson, Vestergaard. Luke Thomas, shocking season for me. How have we given him a 4-year deal? I would say, though, that on Tuesday against Middlesbrough, he didn't have the worst of games. I think some of his deliveries from set pieces were pretty good. Created a couple chances off the back of that. So, again, ideally he doesn't play. But if you're going to go with a traditional left back, just off the basis of the Middlesbrough game, you probably have to go with Thomas again. Skip and Winks. Winks has to start. For obvious reasons. He's probably our best. He's our best. Well, the deep line playmaker, right? In terms of spraying the ball, passing the ball, he's the best one in the team. Oliver Skip. I understand why Marty played him. He wanted grafters. He wanted runners, and I think he got that with Skip. But I think in the second half he was better, Skip. I can't remember actually if it was the first or the second half where he was better. He was better in one of the halves. The other half he tailed off. I think he got the yellow card. He was probably tiring as well because he's barely played, and he was replaced with Hamza Chowdhury later on in the game. I don't know what we do there. I don't know if we go with Skip again. I think there's a chance Marty probably does, just off the basis. Personally, for me, Jordan James has to start next to Harry Winks. If we were to go for this same formation again, for me, it's JJ and Winks in those 2 midfield 8s or 6s, whatever you want to call them. And you go for a different number 10. JJ and Winks, I think, is our best midfield partnership. JJ is wasted in the 10. It's not his position. I get why he's there because of Ramsey, but I think you can move things around and have James further a little bit deeper and have somebody else in the 10. Fatawu, always going to start, obviously. This shows Ayew as the striker and Carranza as the wide player. That's obviously the other way around. What actually happened, Ayew was out wide on the left. Again, I want to say that I want to give Marty the benefit of the doubt and say that he played Ayew on the left to try and actually help Luke Thomas a little bit, because when Mavididi and Monga play there, I think Luke Thomas is a bit more exposed. Regardless, I don't want to see it again. You need to go with pace. You need to counter Norwich. You need to play quickly and get the ball at the pitch quicker. So on that basis, I think Mavididi or Monga should definitely play. I don't want to see Reed there either. I think he had a poor substitute appearance the other night. In the 10, if you move JJ back, that's where you could then maybe have Ayew or Bobby Reed. That's fairer, I think. Although I would much rather Monga. Like, you could have a front four or a front three behind the striker of Monga, Mavididi, Fatawu. Imagine that. That's just much better. That front three or the front three behind the striker, that partnership there of three would be one of the best, in the division. That's just facts. Like, you can argue it's not, but Fatawu, Mavididi, Monga running at you, that is frightening. That is frightening. And the number 9, I'm still leaning towards Kranza just because of that Blackburn game where he scored an offside goal. Now, you'll say, well, it was offside, it doesn't matter, but he put the ball in the back of the net, and that's more than Daka would have done, I think. Ayew scored the penalty, but again, I'm just swaying away from Ayew at the moment. He just slows this play down far too much for me. But I do want you all to let me know in the description, in the live chat, in the comment section down below, what you think the 11 should go for. What changes would you make to this 11 here? Let me know, please, down below. It would be interesting to hear what you've got to say. Now, this is the match, the attack momentum from the other day, and you can see how defensive it was. I mean, it's crazy. We had, nice little bits of momentum early on in the game, which obviously then led to the goal that we scored towards the end of the first half. But you can see there in the second half, we just let them dominate. We let them dominate. And, you can see when the red card happened in the 90th minute, they just continued to have it. That is awful. For me, that is awful. And it just probably shows a lack of game management there as well. You can see there that when they get a red card, you should then have more than enough to try and keep the ball. You've got a man advantage, keep the ball, keep ball. And we're just not very good at that at the moment. We're not very good at keeping the ball. I want to see us front-footed. That's what I want to see. I understand why Martin maybe set up slightly more negative, just in the sense that maybe he just didn't want to concede the first goal, which worked. But when you get the first goal, you should then go and get the second, and that didn't happen. You can see pretty much as soon as we scored the goal, as soon as the second half started, they were all over us. My score prediction for this weekend against Norwich, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leicester win. I've predicted a win every single week for the last 5-6 weeks. I've been wrong in all of them, but I've got faith this is the one. 2-1 Leicester I'm going with. Let me know in the comment section down below what your score prediction is. Again, as well, let me know what changes you want to see to the lineup. And also, I want you to tell me, do you think Marty will be sacked if we drop points this weekend? Please let me know. And if so, who would you want in instead? We'll be live for the watch along from 2:45 on Saturday. Join us for that one. Make sure to get all your comments down below. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. And remember, if you want one of the Jamie Vardy prints that is often shown, then please check out the beautiful frame in the description of the video. Take care all. Come on, Leicester, get this win. Bye-bye. No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, the beautiful frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.